This dude mined hundreds of bitcoins on his gaming PC and sold them for $15 each because he thought that was the peak. Not $1,500. Not $15,000. $15. And somehow, the worst part isn't that he sold them. It's that he almost kept 10 and decided not to. Meet Tyler McKenna, a 26-year-old from Columbus, Ohio. Tyler wasn't a finance guy. He wasn't trying to overthrow banks or become a crypto prophet. He just liked computers. He built his own rig, obsessed over frame rates, and treated new graphics cards like rare collectibles. Around 2011, while scrolling through obscure internet forums, he stumbled across people talking about this strange digital currency called Bitcoin. No banks, no physical coins, just lines of code and cryptography. Most people dismissed it as nerd fantasy money. Tyler thought it sounded interesting, not revolutionary, just interesting. So he started mining in the background while gaming. His PC was already running for hours anyway. Why not let it solve some math problems and earn a few coins? It felt like a science experiment more than an investment. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. He forgot about it half the time. But slowly, casually, he stacked up hundreds of bitcoins. Not because he was a visionary, not because he predicted the future, just because he was early and curious. Back then, those coins were basically arcade tickets. Cool to collect, not something you bragged about at family dinners. Then, Bitcoin started getting attention. Not good attention. Articles calling it a scam. Comment sections predicting total collapse. Financial experts explaining why it was destined for zero. Friends telling him it was fake. Probably illegal. Definitely dumb. And yet, the price started climbing. $5. $10. Then $15. At $15 per coin, something shifted in Tyler's brain. That was real money. Not retire on a yacht money. But real enough. Hundreds of coins times $15? That was a few $1,000. From something he mined while playing video games. It felt irresponsible not to sell. Everywhere he looked, people were saying the same thing. This is a bubble. Take profits. It's going to crash. He told himself he was being smart, rational, mature. He even paused before hitting the sell button. A small voice in his head said, "Keep 10, just in case." 10 coins. That's it. A tiny lottery ticket for the future. But then the louder voice kicked in. What if it crashes tomorrow? What if $15 really is the top? What if I'm the idiot who didn't sell fake internet coins when I had the chance? And so he sold. All of it. Every single coin. He closed the tab feeling responsible, disciplined, slightly proud of himself for not being greedy. He thought he timed it perfectly. Until Bitcoin didn't collapse. It dipped a little, sure, but it didn't die. Instead, it climbed again. $20. $30. $50. Tyler noticed, but he shrugged. Markets bounce. That's normal. Then it hit $100. He opened a calculator, just to see. Hundreds of coins times $100. The number stared back at him. It was uncomfortable, but manageable. He closed the app and told himself it didn't matter. He'd made money. That was the goal. Then it hit $500. This time, he didn't need the calculator. His brain did the math automatically. Against his will. He started calculating at random moments. In the shower, at work, sitting in traffic. 10 coins would have been $5,000. He reminded himself that nobody could have known. Everyone thought it was a bubble. He had acted on the best information available. Then 2017 happened. Bitcoin exploded into mainstream conversation. It was on the news, on social media, at family dinners. Suddenly, everyone had an opinion. And the price climbed toward $20,000. Now, the math wasn't abstract. It was painful. 10 coins would have been $200,000. 10, not the hundreds he originally had. Just the 10 he almost kept. That's when the regret shifted. It wasn't just, that would have been nice. It was heavier than that. Because he wasn't late. He wasn't skeptical. He was early. He did the hard part. He believed when it was weird. He mined when it was uncool. He accumulated before the hype. He just didn't hold. And that tiny moment of caution, that completely logical decision, became the fork in the road he replayed in his mind. Regret is strange like that. It doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just lingers quietly. Tyler would see headlines whenever Bitcoin hit a new all-time high. His phone would light up with price alerts. He'd scroll past them quickly, pretending it didn't sting. At Thanksgiving, a cousin bragged about turning a small crypto investment into a huge gain. Tyler smiled and nodded. He didn't mention that he once had hundreds of coins sitting on an old hard drive. One night, he dug up his old wallet records. There it was, transaction history. Hundreds of Bitcoins sold at $15 each. He stared at it longer than he wanted to admit. It's funny how hindsight has perfect vision, but in the moment everything feels blurry. The truth is, he didn't act irrationally. At the time, Bitcoin was volatile, risky, widely criticized. There were real reasons to believe it might crash to zero. He chose certainty over speculation. Most people would have done the same. And it's easy to romanticize holding when you already know the ending. For every Bitcoin success story, there are countless other next big things that quietly disappeared. If he had held and it crashed, this wouldn't be a dramatic story. It would just be a footnote about lost internet coins. But because it didn't crash, because it soared, the decision feels catastrophic, even though it wasn't. He didn't lose millions. He gained a few thousand. But psychologically, the gap between what happened and what could have happened feels enormous. That's the real weight of it. Being early is only half the equation. Conviction is the other half. And conviction is expensive. It requires sitting through doubt, ignoring noise, tolerating volatility, looking foolish while everyone else feels safe. Tyler had the foresight. He just didn't have the stomach. And maybe that's not a flaw. Maybe that's human. We don't make decisions with future headlines in front of us. We make them with present fear in our ears. At $15, selling felt wise. Only in retrospect does it feel tragic. Fear and greed aren't opposites. They're twins. They just show up at different times. When the price was low, fear said, "It's going to zero." When the price was high, greed whispered, "You should have held." Both feel convincing. Clarity rarely does. So if you were sitting on hundreds of Bitcoins at $15, with everyone around you saying it was a bubble, would you really have held? And what's the biggest, I almost kept it, decision you still think about?